Let's bring you now to the story that will undoubtedly be leading domestic news bulletins here in Australia today, and that, of course, is the keenly awaited speech by now independent backbench MP Craig Thomson about those allegations of misuse of union money when he was head of the Health Services Union. We're joined now by Melissa Clark in Canberra. Melissa, good morning. Lots of anticipation ahead of this midday speech.
There certainly is, and as much as Julia Gillard and the government would like the focus to be on their efforts of getting Australian troops mostly back home from Afghanistan, but also committing to assistance to a third world nation in the long term, all the focus in Australia is likely to be on the House of Representatives at around lunchtime, because that's when Craig Thomson is giving this long anticipated explanation to Parliament of his side of the story when it comes to these allegations that he misused funds from the Health Services Union prior to entering Parliament as a Labor MP. Now, we understand that he is going to use this time to explain that he believes he was set up by others within the union. He has accused others within the union of using his mobile phone, his credit card, his driver's licence to sabotage his future political career. We expect he will today name names, because by speaking in Parliament he is by its very nature covered by parliamentary privilege and has a little more licence to say things that he might not be willing to say outside of Parliament for fear of defamation. So Craig Thomson will give this explanation. We're expected to last around half an hour. He came under a lot of pressure from both the opposition and some key crossbenchers as well to do this, and they will be listening very closely because they're likely to take what he says and use that to decide whether or not they want to take any further action, be it referring him to the Privileges Committee or potentially looking at something like a suspension, which seems unlikely but certainly hasn't been ruled out.
And we're expecting him to explain, as he tried to do in that Laurie Oakes interview on Channel 9 some time ago, Melissa, just how his mobile phone, just how his credit cards suddenly appeared to be connected to these escort services that all these expenses, these nearly $6,000 worth of expenses, were run up at.
We certainly got a taste of his explanation in that interview last weekend, but it was very clear in the response from parliamentarians after that they weren't convinced by the explanation that Craig Thomson was giving to Laurie Oakes in that interview. They felt that the explanation was somewhat fantastical and wasn't one that could be substantiated. They're looking for a lot more information and detail as about how Craig Thomson's version of events could actually be, and if they can actually be verified, the claims he is making that his details were stolen and he was set up by this. Clearly, the information he's given so far hasn't satisfied those that are seeking to be convinced by him. And crucially, the crossbenchers, those independents sitting on the crossbench, who are the ones that can either decide whether or not to join with the coalition for any kind of further censure of Craig Thomson. So the pressure is on Craig Thomson at this stage, but his government colleagues are reminding both the coalition and the public that it is for courts to judge this if and when he is charged with any criminal offences, and that while he might be giving an explanation in Parliament, that isn't a circumstance which then means that he can be judged and tried in the court of public opinion. So a warning on the presumption of innocence there from the government and his former Labor colleagues.
Melissa Clark in Canberra. We'll go back to you later in the program. And just a reminder that Craig Thomson's speech will, of course, be broadcast in its entirety, 15, 20, 30 minutes, however long it is. You'll see every minute of it on ABC News 24 from midday Australian Eastern Standard Time today.